Rain, most people would say, hey, it's raining, I'm not going. So kudos to you for that. The best gift, the ultimate gift, is found in the heart. It gives people hope. Hope is the best medicine because you can't always cure people, but you can give them strength to carry on. And that's what hope does. It gives you strength even when you're dying. Grandmother T was obviously dying. She was reduced to skin and bones. She could barely speak or eat. She loved the Zadifoot dance once, but her step was all gone. So was most of her generation, prompting her to ask, why am I still here? Her life spanned 99 years. She accepted dying from old age because she had to. But no one can accept dying alone without faith, and they don't have to. They just need help from the gift inside them. Of new possibilities for your life. Everybody shake your hand, shake the person's hand on your left and right, and tell them, let's ride. Let's ride. Yes.
That's right.
Let's ride.
Yes, ride indeed.
That's right.
I was born and raised in Louisiana where gumbo, crawfish, and Mardi Gras reigned supreme. Who's been married for over 55 years. Matter of fact, it will be 56 in October. And they never had a fight. Picture this. We are all traveling on the highway of life, headed towards death. But have you ever noticed no one wants to get in the speed lane? Nobody riding in that lane. Well, it's said that the two most important moments in life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. After a successful career as a pharmaceutical executive, military officer, wellness expert, and professional athlete, my why, my purpose, is to inspire men, women, and children to leave a legacy while manifesting to them why it's important to live their dream, not their fear. It was 10 long years of procrastination, of putting off, and making excuses over and over again until I finally made a commitment to complete my first book, which is to be published shortly. The title, Why is Your Reason for Being? It was Horace Mann who said, we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. The book conveys two fundamental messages. The first is, the more you give, the more value you create for others, the more enriching and fulfilling your life becomes. The second message is, no matter where you are socio-economically, no matter how long you've lived on this earth, you can retake control of your life and transform it if you make a commitment not to interfere with the natural flow of your body, mind, and spirit. So the book is about you. It's about inspiring you to do more, learn more, dream more, and become more. How many of you have some goals you'd like to accomplish before the end of the year? Of course, yes. How many of you know that if you had your life to live over again, you could do more than what you've done thus far? Yes. I know something about you without even knowing you. You have greatness in you. Now, I want to make four things clear right now. The first is, I'm not going to say anything that you haven't already heard. Number two, I'm not going to say anything that you don't already know. Here's what else I want to make clear. I don't want you to agree with me. I'm not asking for that, no. And number four, I don't want you to believe me. All I'm suggesting is this, is that you work with the ideas and principles I'm about to share with you that have made a difference in my life. Whatever your goal may be, whether it's to dramatically improve your health, dramatically improve your relationships, dramatically improve your talents, your skills, your gifts, whatever it is. I'm saying to you that these ideas and principles that have worked for me and others can work for you as well. If you get 1/5 of the results that I've gotten, your life will be in a much better spot, and you'll be very excited about that. We are all connected through the energy of the universe, the genesis of each and every one of us. And in that sense, the key to happiness and fulfillment is making a commitment to doing what life has given you to do. When you pursue what's inside you, you're more likely to be driven by your purpose, the deepest wishes of your soul revealed by your heart. What matters? Robert Beno said, "The heart does not answer to the mind. The heart reveals the deepest wishes of the soul. No amount of clever justifications or smart excuses alters the heart's wish. It just delays the richly fulfilling life you truly seek." My own life is an example of committing to answers in my heart. I had a choice to make. It's a moment etched in my mind. I was lying in the emergency room bed with excruciating pain in my lower back, thinking, whenever I could muster the mental strength, in spite of my physical discomfort, thinking about how fragile and unpredictable life is. The diagnosis, I was focused on my career and had taken my eye off what matters, my physical and mental well-being. The prognosis, if I didn't want to end up back in the emergency room, I needed to resolve the disconnect between what was in my heart and what was reality. A disconnect which had less than desirable effects in all dimensions of my life. It was at that moment that I made a decision to begin living the life I truly seek, designing my life so it makes sense to me. Like many people, unfortunately, instead of me programming my life was programming me. It was a conundrum which kept me delaying being in alignment with who I am. The reality is this: you don't get in life what you are. You get in life what you are because you are pursuing what it is that's inside you, your purpose. This untimely experience had a profound impact on me and my life. It helped me to find what matters to me. It helped me to begin my journey of transformation. What I discovered personally while convalescing in the emergency room was that when you interfere with the natural flow of your body, mind, and spirit, you not only compromise your ability to tap into your potential for doing all that you're capable of, but you also compromise your ability to live a harmonious life, a life of well-being, mentally and physically. What matters to you? What do you value? Find what matters to you to begin your journey of transformation. Like stars in the sky, born out of a precarious struggle between gravity and pressure, you must take a chance on finding what matters to you if you are to live the life you truly seek, in spite of the challenges that are part of life. For many of us, it's easy to get trapped by economic necessity to settle for existence rather than substance. That's easy. How do we avoid that trap? By setting goals. We all know it's easier said than done. When I returned home from college for a break, I noticed a paper posted on the refrigerator. It listed some of the goals my dad had set for himself. Help wife more. That's a real good one, isn't it, ladies? Lose weight. Be more productive at work. I quickly added, send KJ money every month. A few days later, after giving it some thought, my mom decides she wants to help my dad with his goals, right? She wrote, redo kitchen, buy new furniture. At that point, my sister was feeling left out, so she wrote, buy new flat screen TV. It never ends, does it? Well, after noticing how his list had evolved, my dad decides to replace his original goals with 3 words. Get another job. Sound familiar? Yes. Far too many of us fall into what I call the society pit. I was one of these people. Following and imitating the masses, which sets us on a course, drifting automatically. Graduate high school, maybe enter college, get a degree, then rush into a full-time job. Working on jobs for financial gain, not because they particularly interest us, appears to be the common scene. Our social structure seems to have misdirected us, and the conformity of our society is exceedingly conflicting with the human spirit, our creativity, our emotions, our fears, our intellect, and our passions. For me, I knew I needed to make a change. It was mid-afternoon on a cold day in December 2012. I was seated at my living room table in a pensive mood, thinking about my life, the many things I had accomplished, experienced, and learned along the way to that moment. The good and the less desirable things that had brought me to that space in time. It was this self-awareness that hit me. If I continued on the same path I had been traveling, I would likely look back one day with regret for having lived a less than fulfilling life. Don't get me wrong. I loved my career, I did. But deep down inside, I knew there was something more in me, that there was more to life than the conformity indoctrinated by society. I began to wonder, how many other people are there in this world who are living a life of what appears to be happiness and success, but feel there is so much more in them to live a life of participation rather than accumulation. Think about this. We are all self-made, but only the successful will admit it. If you don't believe me, ask Pokemon. Come on, admit it. Everybody plays Pokemon, right? No, not everybody? Okay. Well, I'm sure you've heard about him, so yes. Self-made means the right kind of energy. Abraham Lincoln once refused to hire a guy because of his face. People tried to convince him, hey, this guy can't help it. Lincoln replied, anybody over 40 is responsible for their face. Imagine a depressing face looking at you every day. Enough to make your blood pressure rise. I'm warning you, keep away from these dead faces. It's contagious. This is serious stuff. Some people are so negative they can walk into a dark room and begin to develop. Some of this energy will short circuit your greatness. But when there's hope in the future, there's power in the present. Let's take a closer look at that. The best doctor in the whole wide world does more than control blood pressure, treat diabetes, and push pills. It gives people hope. Hope is the best medicine because you can't always cure people, but you can give them strength to drive on. And that's what hope does. It gives you strength even when you're dying. Larry was a very dear friend of mine who loved his wife and son. He was dying, but only he knew it. He knew he couldn't be cured. In spite of all this, Larry remained passionate about helping his patients feel better. He loved informing his colleagues of the latest advancements in medicine. And because he never held back, he was able to drive on. What is it that keeps us, most of us, held back? What holds us back? Fear, yes, one of them, exactly. And when you think about it, when you're talking about being held back, you've got to wonder, do I have it within me to overcome this? Well, I'm here to tell you, you are unbeatable. Because you're unbeatable, because you have powers you haven't even begun to realize yet, you owe it to yourself to release your brakes. How many of you have had the experience of pulling out of your driveway? You press on the accelerator, but the car stalls. You press press even harder. The car still doesn't move. Then you realize you have your emergency brakes on. You release the brakes, the car then drives on. Sound familiar? Most of us go through life with our brakes on, holding back, not giving all that we have, not sharing all of ourselves. Most of us go to our grave still holding on rather than releasing it. What are some of the other things that keeps us from releasing it? Besides fear? Past experiences, past defeats, past pain. Many people confuse their performances with who they are. Case in point, Pat Riley, the former head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, for you Laker fans, back in the day, once told his team after they were beaten badly, "Tonight, we are exposed for what we are right now." It means if my speech doesn't work out today, it doesn't mean I'm a bad speaker. It means what I did today didn't work. I've got to separate what I do from who I am. I've got another chance. The last chapter of your life has not been written yet.
Amen.
It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. It doesn't matter about the things you've done that you feel guilty about. No. Release your brakes. Shake someone's hand on your left and right and say, "Release your brakes."
Release your brakes.
It was an early Tuesday morning when I called Larry's office. He was to speak that day on the latest heart failure study. I was shocked when the person on the phone said, "Dr. Larry passed away last night." I struggled to respond coherently. The only thing that kept looping through my mind at that moment was, I just had lunch with him yesterday. Larry lived a fearless life. He never held back. He died due to heart failure. He was only 38 years old. As I sat in the pew at his memorial, tears of anxiety and confusion streamed down my face. It took some time, but I finally came to realize that Larry was the best doctor in the whole wide world. He gave his all, even in the face of death. He never had a need for emergency brakes. Like Larry, you, me, every one of us have the power to drive on. Jim Rose said, if you had enough reasons, you could do the most incredible things while ultimately changing your whole life. Reasons come first, answers come second. He goes on to say, you don't get the answers to do well until you get the reasons. Life has a mysterious way of hanging on to all the answers and only gives them up to those who are inspired by reasons. A great example of reasons and change is the Wright brothers. It was the Wright brothers, not Samuel Pierpont Langley, who on December 17, 1903, ushered in a new technology and changed the world forever. What is it that allowed the Wright brothers to succeed where Langley didn't? The Wright brothers were driven by a purpose, a cause, a belief. The belief that if they could figure out how to make this heavier-than-air man-machine fly, they could change the world. Langley, on the other hand, was in pursuit of fame and fortune. He wanted to emulate some of the most innovative pioneers of the day, like Alexander Graham Bell and Thomas Edison. The difference? The Wright brothers started with why. Langley started with what. When you start with why, you not only create value for yourself, you create value for others as well. When you start with why, you make a decision to act. When you act, you begin to access powers within you that gives you the authority to boost your self-esteem, to enhance and increase your personal power. That puts you in charge of life. Your life takes on a whole new meaning. There's a sense of personal freedom for you. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to have any disappointments. It doesn't mean you're not going to make mistakes. It doesn't mean you're not going to have any setbacks or struggles. No, it doesn't mean that. But here's what it does mean. It means that you put yourself in alignment with who you are, your higher calling, your higher self. And that's what's important in life. How many of you have seen the blockbuster movie, The Matrix Reloaded? Good. For those of you who haven't seen it, I hate to ruin it for you, but you've had over 10 years to see it. Get the DVD, watch it. It's just as good today as it was over 10 years ago. The movie is steeped in spiritual symbolism. It delves into reality versus illusion. In one scene, the Merovingian talks about causality and purpose. He says, to regain our personal power, we must focus our energy on understanding why things are as they are. And that starts with knowing why we are as we are, why we believe as we do, why we feel as we do, why we behave as we do. He goes on to say, why is the only real source of power. Without it, we are powerless. This is true. Without the why, we are powerless. Many of us live a life of illusion in that this dream world is a reality. Our particular dream world is formed by technology, consumerism, the media, and certain aspects of modern civilization that keeps humans distracted from their potential. This illusion is based on answers rather than reasons. You don't get the answers to live a fulfilling life until you get the reasons. And once you do have the reasons, you can do the most incredible things while ultimately changing your whole life. Reasons come first, answers come second. What is it, or how could we even imagine that instead of the Wright brothers, we would be talking about Samuel Pierre Pont Langley? How is that? Well, it was the Wright brothers, not Langley, who focused on creating value for others. The Wright brothers made a choice to take a chance to change the world. Progress is impossible without change. And those who refuse to change their mind will never change anything. George Bernard Shaw. We all have a choice. We all have a chance. We can all make a change in our life and the world around us. What is it that would allow you to summon the power necessary to begin your journey of transformation? Energy. Everything is energy. Your thoughts begin it, your emotions amplify it, and your actions create its momentum. For example, just imagine for a moment, we are all standing together, forming a circle. I'm holding in my hand a basket of inspiration. I take that basket and pass it to you on my right. You then take it and pass it to your right. So on and so forth until it comes back around to us. What we give, we receive. Now, at any time that basket of inspiration was being passed, someone decides to stop and hold it there, we all suffer. That person has short-circuited the flow. That person has stopped the energy from going around. What you don't give, you don't receive. You and I are part of a universal equation. as such, we are needed. That universal equation is the universal law of reciprocation. It has been at the heart of civilization from the very beginning. That basket of inspiration is your gift. Share it. Life is about revelations of the heart. Something my grandmother experienced. As I sat there, seeing her reduced to skin and bones was hard. As I looked at her, I began to think about her amazing life of 99 years. She is a tremendous example of overcoming the odds. She lived through 2 world wars, witnessed numerous presidents for whom she was not allowed to vote, married my grandfather, and had 8 children. Now that would have been enough right there for most women, I would think, right? Endured the Great Depression and the Jim Crow laws of the South, was amazed by new world of technology, and lived each day with dignity and grace. Being her eldest grandchild, I said to her, Grandmother T, the answer is in your heart. You're still here because of, not in spite of, your faith. Barely able to speak, she said to me softly, that's all we can do. Have faith. For you, for me, for every one of us, we must have faith in our heart. I'm going to leave this with you. Howard Thurman, Dr. King's mentor, said, the ideal situation for a man or woman to die is to have family members standing around their bed praying with them as they cross over. Now imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed. Standing around you are the dreams and the ideas given to you by life. The talents, the gifts you never took the time to develop, that you never took the time to nurture, the skills you never did anything with. Standing around looking at you with very large, angry eyes saying, we came to you. Only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever. The question is, if you die today, what dream, what idea will die with you? What talent, what ability, what skill, what gift will die with you? What book, what business, what invention, what technology, what song, what seminar, what speech will die with you? No. The gift is in your heart. This has been Grandmother T's eldest grandchild, KJ LeVan, saying it's been a gumbo pleasing pleasure and a privilege. Merci beaucoup. I'm not sure what happens at this part, but I assume you guys know what to do. Mingle.
If there's questions, you may intervene questions.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yes.
What was that movie you said?
Yes, it's called The Matrix Reloaded. It was 2003, so a little bit over 10 years. Yes. Any other questions? Yes.
How did you find your passion?
How did I find my passion? Again, it was a revelation that took place when I had a clear vision of what it is that I wanted to do with my life. After a successful career as a pharmaceutical executive, moving up the ranks from sales to senior vice president, there was a void in my heart in terms of what was in my heart and what was reality. To have all the things that you see other people have, the houses, the cars, the status, the titles, it just wasn't fitting in who I am, who I truly am. And we all have this in us. We all have what it is that we truly are supposed to be doing. But we get distracted by all the things that again, keeps us conformed to everything around us. And so, in the journey that I had, it was a matter of me saying, you know what? Are you going to be on your deathbed saying, I wish I would have done this rather than that? And with that, I began to formulate what it is that I truly wanted to be. And who I wanted to be relative to people saying, yes, that's KJ. That's the new KJ. The KJ that inspires others through his own actions. So in a sense, it was more about continuing to grind through life and then one day having a revelation. It's like most things. All of a sudden, boom, a light goes off. Wow. Some people pay attention to it, others don't. But fortunately, I did, and I'm in a much better place for it.
So what specifically is your passion?
It's about inspiring men, women, and children to leave a legacy. Letting them know that you can not only inspire yourself, but the others around you by doing what you truly feel is who you are. And I say that in the sense, right now I'm the Healthy Living Director at the YMCA. I couldn't think of a better place to be a part of a community where I could impact people's lives so that they can live a life through their body, mind, and spirit. It's about giving back. It's about helping you to realize that it really is about others and not about yourself, because we're all connected. We are all connected. And when you think in that way, you have the ability to, again, inspire people because you're not focusing about the ego. Someone said ego is edging God out. Well, if you leave that out, you can more than likely live the life you truly seek. Any other questions?
Yes, I wanted to, when you said something like, I sat back and I got the light, what were the key highlights that drag you to that point, or what did you encounter that made that happen?
Yes. So, again, I'm sitting at my living room table thinking about my life, the things that I have accomplished, and the good and the bad. And after I retired from pharmaceuticals, it was a situation where, do I really want to step out of that comfort zone, if you will, of leaving a corporate job where I get a steady paycheck? I thought for a moment, and I did attempt to get back into the corporate world. I did. But for whatever reason, someone wasn't letting me back in. And so it went on for quite some time, for at least 6 or 7, 8 months. And it wasn't allowing me to get those interviews and sit in front of someone who could say, yes, you're hired. And at the same time, my own life was taken off in another path, because I had started writing my book even before I left corporate America. And so the events that happened in conjunction were that I was trying to get back in corporate America, but at the same time, I was looking to inspire people by writing a book. And when it didn't happen for me to get back into the corporate office or corporate suite, if you will, I really said, you know what? This is a sign. It's got to be, because if it's not happening anymore on the corporate side, and my book is going well, I'm writing it, it seems like when I sit down and write, words just flow. It feels right. So this must be the path. And so with that revelation, I decided, you know what? This is what I'm supposed to do. And because it's what I'm supposed to do, this is what I need to focus on. So forget about getting back into the corporate suite, all the whistles and bells and the things that you are accustomed to, and focus on what you truly are, who you truly are, and inspire people, hopefully, to do the same. Anyone else? Yes.
What was the name of your book again?
Yes. It's called Why is Your Reason for Being? W-H-Y. Yes. It hasn't been published yet. I am working with one of the top publicists here in Houston, and we are working on the back end, of course, of getting the following up on social media. So please follow me on Facebook or Twitter, KJ Levant. You can find me there. We're hoping to have it published at least by next spring. And once we do, we'll definitely keep you updated throughout as we get to that part. Okay. Anyone else? Yes.
What one book has kind of helped you the most that you've read?
Yes, yes. This is a book that goes way back. Some of you guys might be familiar with it. It's called Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude by Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone. Yes, some of you, I'm sure, are familiar with that one.
Yeah.
It really, this is interesting in the sense that I started reading that book back in '91, and I've read it at least 10 times. But that has, more than anything, I think, impacted me to see or get a different perspective on life. And so the other part of that is, who is the speaker that would impact me the way I'm impacted at this point? I'm sure you've probably heard his name. He's up there with Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy. His name is Les Brown. Yes. Les has been an instrumental guidance in how I perceive my life and how I am living it. And so if you ever get a chance to, again, listen to Les Brown, just like Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, all the great speakers out there, they definitely have had an influence on me, and I'm sure they'll have the same influence on you. Anyone else?
How did your family take the transition from family of pharmaceutical executive to what you're doing now?
My dad, not so good. Yeah, he, again, I grew up in a family of 5. I'm the eldest. And he never really had a chance to go to college, although I have tremendous respect for my parents for what they did with 5 kids. All of us have master's degrees. We're all contributing to society, so in that sense, I'm very, I revere them deeply. My dad wanted me to go to school and get an education, of course, and make it big. So when I got to the corporate suite, that was his thing. Oh yeah, my son is senior vice president, so on and so forth. So when I started transitioning though away from that, yeah, there was some friction to the point where, yeah, we didn't talk to each other, unfortunately, and it hurts. I know it hurts him because my mom tells me I'm very close to my mom, closer to her than I am to him, but. I think he's starting to come around. He sees what it is and I'm trying to accomplish in taking a different path than what he himself wanted for me, trying to live vicariously through me, which is unfortunately a lot of families go through that with their kids. But I think as I move out in time and continue on my journey, we're going to come back to speaking again and having a father and son conversation. So. Yes, but my mother, she's on board. She's, son, whatever's in your heart, do it. So there you go. Yes. Yes.
To that book question, Mike Bond recommended 48 days to the job you love, and there's a workbook, and it's real helpful for the type of.
And would you say the name again, please?
It's 48 days to the job you love.
Okay.
There's a book and a workbook. I recommend the workbook has some CDs in it.
Okay. Okay, good. So, yeah, I think that's a great way to, focus on what it is that you want to do in terms of finding a job, and hopefully it's your passion. I always tell people, if it's a job where you are wanting to go to work, that's good. But if you get up and you're in the car, you drive past the job because you don't want to go, then you probably need to leave. You find something that is fulfilling and really touches your heart in a way that it's supposed to. So, yes. Anyone else?
You had mentioned that you were in the ER. What happened to you that particular day? Did that derail a athletic career?
It did.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that. Yes. So I'm on my way to becoming a professional athlete, professional bodybuilder, and I was doing some exercises, and it's called the T-bar row, where you're bent over. And as a young kid, I'm thinking, okay, I don't need a belt to bend over and do these heavy weights here. All of a sudden I heard, pop. Got up. I was like, what was that? Didn't know. But the next morning I found out. I could not stand up. The most I could stand up was like this. And so I herniated, and they still are, the 3 discs right above the tailbone. Yeah. So in that sense, you know, to connect, well, what is it? What was the thing that, you know, went off and said, hey, wait a minute, I'm not living the life I'm supposed to be living. Throughout my corporate career, at that point, I found myself being stressed over little things. People would set me off for no reason. And so when that happened with me being in the hospital, the emergency room, and all the morphine they were giving me, and still the pain was there, I was like, wait a minute, something's not right here. It's more than a physical aspect, it's got to be spiritual. And so with that really gave me the impetus, if you will, to look at my life in a different way, to start my path where I need to be in terms of inspiring myself so I can inspire other people. And by the way, I did do the contest that I was getting ready for when I injured myself. It was 2 months out from the national competition so that I could qualify to turn pro. And so instead of the operation that was recommended, I foregone. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I went to one of the best sports doctors here in Houston, and they said, you know what, just take a break. Your body is an amazing machine. It can heal itself if you do what's necessary. You know, the stretching, the rehab, and all the other things that helped me. And I did get back to the point where I could train around that to be able to stand on stage and compete. So, yes. It was a long journey, but I made it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you. Thank you all.